spring ball and into the upcoming season in the fall. But as always, Bama Nation, we want to hear from you on tonight, and you can do this by calling 205-448-1358 for number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. The daily super chat goes $75. We already got Jamie Wilhelm with that $4.99, and the super chat's already showing love here. Appreciate the support from all of you to us here at TDA. Gotta shout out my man John Ivory as well in the production studio, handling his thing there from behind the scenes. But we now jump into the first topic of conversation on a Monday, and that being the positional breakdowns here going throughout spring here for Alabama into the upcoming season in the fall. And we finally made it to the final offensive position breakdown. We looked at the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, the offensive line. We have finally made it to the tight end position, and this is one where Alabama to start spring ball on last Friday. Coach Saban was pleased with the guys he hired on the coaching staff, in particular, one Joe Cox, who will be working with the tight ends. Cox, at 35 years of age, former Georgia quarterback, worked with that position, tight ends at Charlotte, was also with Colorado State from 2016 to 19. Actually did a really good job for the Rams, having guys like Dalton Fackrell, Trey McBride, and Cameron Butler all having success there at that position. So, I mean, Pat, when you look at here, Coach Joe Cox coming over here to work with tight ends, and him being young guy, fiery guy, energetic guy, good recruiter, but just him coming from Charlotte to now the SEC, teaming up with Coach Saban, working with the likes of Cameron Latou, among others. I mean, what has you kind of excited about Joe Cox, and what do you think he could probably bring to help the growth of that position?
Well, I mean, I think it's the fact that he came from such a small program and then came up straight to Alabama. I mean, you just really don't see guys like doing that unless they have something special about them. And Nick Saban alluded to that during his first press conference, saying that he's one of the bright young coaches out there right now. And you know, I think it's always interesting when you bring youth into the coaching fixture, because it's just new ideas, kind of new blood getting things in there. And I'm really excited. And, you know, tight end is one of the positions in football that's really changing and trending drastically over the course of the past, 5 to 10 years. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with this tight end room coming into the year.
The position has changed, Pat, because we remember, years back, or just years ago, the tight end position was essentially you are an extension of the offensive line. You put your hand in the dirt. You're blocking from the C gap. You're opening up the run game. You're in pass protection also. Sometimes you may see a tight end run a route, catch a football, whether it's in the red zone or what have you, and especially at Alabama when you had guys like Nick Walker and Brian Vogler, more so blockers. And, of course, Michael Williams comes in. Brad Smelly become more of the pass catchers. And now we've seen more so athletic tight ends, your O.J. Howards, your Irv Smiths, your Miller Forrestalls. Recently, guys like Jaleel Billingsley, who's now at Texas, Cameron Latou. So we have seen that position change, shift, grow, evolve. And Coach Saban did mention that having a coach that gives more so attention to that spot is a really good thing. So excited to see what Cox can do. But Alabama does return Cameron Latou at that tight end position. Had 8 touchdown receptions a season ago. If you would have held on to a bit more of those passes, could have been double digits there and touchdowns. So this spring, for somebody who started his career as an outside linebacker, gets switched over to tight end, learns, grows, develops at that position, had a good year in 2021. What do you want to see more from Latou this spring going into the fall, to where he's trying to be a high draft pick, but what do you want to see from Latou more?
Just a little more consistency with his hands. Like you said, he dropped a couple passes in the red zone and fumbled a couple times down there into some really costly situations. But honestly, I really liked what I saw from Cameron Latou during his first year. Like you said, he did catch 8 touchdowns.
He did.
I mean, he's a big red zone threat down there. He's 6'4", 6'5", big target. Can't really miss him. So if he can kind of get more consistent with his hands, especially down there, I think he's going to have a really big year, especially being one of the more experienced receiving types on this roster coming back.
The one thing I kind of want to see a bit more from him, Pat, is, and I know This is an area where you either have it or you don't, is maybe a bit more speed, because there was one game where he catches a pass, and he's running, trying to score a touchdown, and he gets caught from behind. Not quite sure which game that was, but he catches a pass in the flag. He turns upfield. It looks like he's going to race himself into the end zone, gets caught from behind. So I think maybe a bit more speed if he can develop that, find that, get that somewhere in his game. But once again, that's kind of one of those things where you either have it or you don't have it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about that. I remember in the national championship game he got ran down, but
I think that was it.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
You know, I mean, like, it's one of those things where you kind of have or you don't. You'd always like everyone to get a little faster, but he did run 40 yards before he got tackled. So I think it's, you know, yeah, I think in a perfect world you want everyone to get faster. Of course you do, but I think just if he just catches more touchdowns in the red zone, a little more consistent, I think that's all he really needs to do.
The main thing here for Alabama is trying to find, Pat, that complement for Latu, seeing how Jaleel Billings, like I mentioned, now with the Texas Longhorns hooking up there with Steve Sarkisian. Of course, you know, Bama does have a freshman enrollee in Elijah Brown on campus. It's also got some guys coming in the summer that could be something. But of course, Robbie Oots is back. And Oots came in that 2021 class from South Carolina. He developed that role in that fullback H-back role, was really good blocking for Brian Robinson and the rest of the backs in those red zone situations, helping those guys score touchdowns before suffering a foot injury. But, I mean, just for you, Pat, when you look at a position where there's not just a whole bunch of depth there, or proven depth there for that matter, but just for you, if there was a guy that you feel like this could be a guy that can be that complement to Latu in the passing game, who would that guy be for you?
Well, I really like Elijah Brown, mostly because his size is 6'4", almost 240 pounds. And like we were talking about how the tight end position has really changed, I mean, he really isn't even – if you watch his tape, you rarely see him with his hand in the dirt blocking. I mean, he's pretty much in the slot or kind of in a wing position going out running routes. And I think he's a really dynamic pass catcher, really athletic for his size. And he's a good blocker at the second level when he's getting at linebacker. So I think he could be one of those guys that kind of steps into that Jaleel Billingsley role. I mean, Billingsley was a guy at Alabama who we were all waiting to finally put it all together and pop into that and just turn into that kind of Kyle Pitts type that Nick Saban's kind of been chasing.
Everybody was hoping that Jaleel would have been Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since Kyle Pitts torched Alabama in that SEC championship game, Nick Saban's kind of been chasing that and looking for that, and everyone thought Billingsley could be it, but of course he moved on to Texas. But now Alabama has a few guys that they're kind of hoping to fill that kind of role on this team.
You got Elijah Brown, and that's a really good move right there on your part. My guy is going to be somebody that's not here in the spring, but will come in the summer. I really like Amari Nablack. When you watch this kid's tape, it is a hybrid tight end. He can block. May need probably a bit more work in that area, but he is a pass-catching, route-running, physicality in terms of passing game machine. When you look at, you can line him up outside, you can line him up in the slot, you can line him up as a traditional inline tight end. He can go out there, he can make plays, straight baller, can make catches all over the field, and he fits the mold that the tight end position is now in. A guy that's got a bigger body to go up and make plays over linebackers, over cornerbacks, over safeties, but also has the route running and the speed of a wide receiver to frustrate guys even more. Now, also, Danny Lewis Jr. comes in the summer, and Coach Saban was really excited about ending the 2022 signing class with him at tight end. But keep your eyes, just to me, on Amari Nablack. I mean, watching that kid play out of the high school ranks, he fits today's tight end. But like you mentioned, Pat, Elijah Brown also fits today's tight end. So it's going to be interesting to see with Brown already on campus now, and with Nablack and Danny Lewis both come in, how does Joe Cox get the best out of his tight end room? Because he's coming from small program to big, and even though that does kind of insinuate this guy as a coach has some special talents in terms of motivation and recruiting, Coach Saban also wants to see, can you produce though? Once you get here, can you take our 4- and 5-star talent that's here and make it even better and get it to produce. That's the main thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of these 4 or 5-star talents that usually come in at tight end, there was once a time where when you came in maybe as a 5-star tight end, you had to wait a year or two, put on some weight, learn how to block in this system. That's all gone. You can get on the field right away if you're a receiving threat, especially at Alabama, who's looking to air it out this year with Bryce Young.
Alabama definitely looking to put that ball in the air with Young, so just even more so. So for me, Pat, is there a way Alabama can become more creative with the tight ends, with Joe Cox in here? Because that's a question that a lot of fans want to know. It's, can we use the tight end more? Can we get more creative with the tight end? Can we go more to that position on first down, second down, in the red zone? Is there a creative way where Bill O'Brien can use this group? Because after seeing what O'Brien did with the New England Patriots, your NFL team, when you look at the Rob Gronkowskis and the Aaron Hernandezes of the world, when Alabama brought O'Brien in, they kept looking at that, like what he did there in New England with those two dudes. And fans are in their minds going, is that still there? Can he have that type of creativity with this group here at tight end? Can you see it happening, Pat, this season?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much creativity you really need when you were working with the greatest quarterback of all time and the greatest tight end of all time with Rob Gronkowski. But I think there is still some room to get creative at Alabama because, like we were talking about with these guys' versatility, just the way you can line them up across the field, whether it's brown or in the black, and then you have Cameron Latu, who's the little more traditional tight end who's going to have his hand in the dirt blocking too. I think maybe having multiple packages where there's guys lined up all across the field that could make it really difficult for teams to defend them.
I think what would be really cool, Pat, is since Kendall Randolph still wears 85 and 70 or 60, he's still looked at as a tight end / offensive lineman. I would like a situation where you could have a package where it's Kendall Randolph, Robbie Oots, and Cameron Latu all on the field, got all 3 tight ends, and people are like, what the world is going on here? And you would slide Latu out, but you would have Oots and Kendall Randolph block and kind of have like an off-balance line set. That'd be really interesting.
It would be interesting. I think I would set it up differently at the goal line. I think I'd have Kendall Randolph on the outside run a fade, jump ball fade, so just to see what he could do. I mean, why not, you know?
Jump ball fade. You know what? We could probably put that in Coach Saban's playbook. Jump ball fade there with Kendall Randolph. I mean, hey, if he catches it for a touchdown, I mean, we look like geniuses there if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason why I'm sitting here. Nick Saban's coaching the team, though.
Well, jump ball fake with Kendall Randolph. Whatever Alabama can do to get that tight end position more fun, more creative, more exciting for the people to watch. But that is a position to keep your eyes on here in spring ball and the upcoming season. Who becomes that complement for Cameron Latu at the tight end spot? We shall see. And can Joe Cox continue to grow and elevate this group? Saban brought him in as a young guy, fresh recruiter, fresh mind. Really impressed with what he can do there from a schematic standpoint. Going to be fun to watch that. But folks, we take a break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started here on a Monday. When we get back, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, your discussions, your conversations. We get to you, the Bama fan base, right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
Nine players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
folks, we are back into the action here from the break on a Monday. Getting that work week started off for you correctly. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, rocking and rolling here with you. Crimson Tide off for spring break. We'll return to the practice action on next week. And we're going to go on the phone lines right now to take your calls. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Blue Monday, oh, Blue Monday. I tell you what, it's Monday all day long. Ooh, it's Monday night. We live. We on TDA. We on the hottest show in the streets, the number one show in the country. It takes every one of y'all to do that, each and every one of y'all to make this show the number one show in the country. Hello to everybody in the chat. We'll get that right off the bat there. Hope everybody's doing good. I see everybody. Y'all looking good. Well, we see Tom's come back. Oh, he's never going to give up, Stephen. What do you think about Tom? Give me your opinion on that.
To me, Wagon, I felt like Tom Brady went home for about a week and found out, man, I got some bad kids. And then he saw Giselle's shopping list for him, and he goes, kids and shopping list or football? Kids and shopping list or football? You know what? Let me go back to the NFL.
There you go. That could have been exactly what happened there. Yeah, exactly. About 2 weeks on with the kids. Well, it's time to go back on the football field. But I guess men's basketball plays Friday night. I guess it's still up in there, either Rutgers or Notre Dame. So we'll see how that goes there. I hope they do well in NIT. And I don't know. We'll see. How far you think they'll make it, Stephen? What do you think? What's your prediction on Alabama? Give me a prediction how far they'll go.
Okay, so Bama in the NCAA tournament, my hope is the Elite Eight. That's my hope. This is a team that could get hot and get to the Final Four. They can get really hot, but this can also be a team that can come out cold and get bounced in the first round. So my hope and prayer, Waylon, is the Elite Eight.
The Elite Eight, the man said it right there, the Elite Eight, that's what they picked last time, a few of them did, so I'm going to stick with y'all. Maybe we'll get the Elite Eight. All right, everybody be safe, and are they still allowing y'all out? Are they allowing y'all on the field down there during the practices, or are they still doing that COVID-19 protocol stuff? Y'all been able to get on the field, do a little filming?
They're still doing the protocol stuff, Waylon, but thankfully they're allowing us to be in the Nick Saban press conferences, so they're giving us something.
All right, that sounds good then. A little bit better than nothing then. Maybe they'll open it up maybe during the summer. All right, everybody looking good. Y'all stay safe. Let's meet back here on Wednesday. Y'all, like I said, it takes every one of y'all to make this the hottest show on the street. We love all y'all. I'll see y'all Wednesday. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate Waylon here starting us off on a Monday. They're doing us a little bit of justice. We're not getting on the field to see the players like we would like to, but at the very least, we're getting the Nick Saban press conference. We're getting Coach Saban's thoughts. So I guess we could just take that and run with it. But we grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? It's your boy Elijah calling from Jersey. How you?
Doing good, man. Doing fantastic. Big man, how about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm hanging in there. Just tuned in to listen to what you had to say and talking about these the tight ends. And that's a very good conversation. You know, who is going to be the next tight end to step up, man? And last year, you know, when you watch these Alabama games, they ran a lot of 3 receiver sets. And I understood why they did it, you know, the way Jaleel was playing, man. I can't believe I honestly had to say this, but, you know, Latu outplayed Jaleel last year. And going into the season, everybody thought, you know, Jaleel was going to be the next O.J. Howard. Jaleel
first round pick type.
Yeah, he was going to be the next best thing. And this guy, for whatever reason, he just stunk it up last year. And with the tight ends, it's more like, it's not how big you are. It's not how strong you are. It's basically, can you get open? It's almost like a slot receiver. And that's the one thing that worries me, because between the 20 and the 20-yard line, you know, our tight ends wasn't very productive. We had to use the slot receiver more so. When we got down in the red zone, that's when they started to look more for the tight ends. But I hope this kid Block is the one that, you know, can open up that part of our passing game, because last year, you know, even with Latu, you know, he did the best he could. And honestly, that guy, he is, I don't want to say the most improved, but he was outstanding last year. He was an overachiever, Latu was. Jalil, straight dud, man. I never wish bad on anybody, but I was happy he did transfer, because it was something else going on with him. I don't think it's a mental thing. I think it's just strictly him, the coaching staff, or him in Alabama somewhere wasn't seeing eye to eye, because this guy had too much ability to go out there and half run routes, halfway block, and he was just going through the motions. But this knee block, I watched a couple of his highlights, and he does look like a Jalil Billingsley. He has that type of body, a kid hopefully that can get open, because that's the most important thing. Can these tight ends beat these linebackers in coverage and overpower these nickelbacks in coverage? Because that's who's going to be guarding these guys most of the time. But, you know, right now, I'm not mad at Latu. I would take Latu right now. I don't think Oots is going to be that much of a big deal at tight end, bro, to be honest with you. He's more just like a blocking fullback, or maybe a blocking tight end. But you talking about going out there and making the defense respect him. I believe, man, a lot of those guys could backpedal faster than he can run. So I don't think he's going to put a lot of stress on the defense. But I hope this kid Knee Block does come around and gives us another element to this offense, because Alabama's definitely going to need all the help they can get offensively, especially since our receiving core is so young, you know, and all those guys on the receiving core have a lot to still prove, not just pass catching, but also blocking. Can these receivers block? That's very important to help out in the run game and things like that. So, you know, I'm going to get off of here right now. I just want to voice my opinion on it. Once again, thanks a lot for letting me speak, and keep doing your thing, Steve.
Appreciate that call there from Elijah, my man from Jersey. It's going to be interesting to see who becomes that complement to Cameron Latu. Like I said, keep your eyes on Amari Black coming in here in the summer. Also, keep your eyes on Danny Lewis Jr. coming in here summer as well. One of those two is going to be the complement to Latu. Now, if it's Elijah Brown, my man Patrick Dowd's guy, then kudos to Elijah Brown. But you've got guys at that position. It comes down to Coach Cox here, Coach Joe Cox. Can he get the most out of these guys as a young coach here on staff coming from Charlotte? What can he do of a 35-year-old on the staff here? But we're gonna go to a quick topic here, and this is actually off to Rick Dennison. Rick Dennison, Alabama, has a new assistant strength coach. New assistant strength coach on staff, Rick Dennison, coming over from Michigan State, where he served as the assistant director of strength and conditioning for 2 years. Prior to Michigan State, he was at Indiana as the director of strength and conditioning for nearly 11 years. So the last part of his tenure there with the Hoosiers, he had linked up with David Ballou, Dr. Matt Ray, and Paul Constantine. So we're starting to see a lot of ties here when you look at this. Rick Dennison knows David Ballou very well, knows Paul Constantine very well, comes over from the Big Ten ranks of Indiana and Michigan State to hook up here with Alabama. So this is big. Even with losing Dr. Matt Ray to the NFL, where the New Orleans Saints are concerned, you still have some continuity here when you talk David Ballou, Paul Constantine, and now you bring over Rick Dennison to help out with that strength staff. Very, very good there for Coach Saban making that hire in here to the program. But we're going to go to a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we're going to be joined by royalty, former Alabama defensive back Jalyn Armour-Davis, who blazed the NFL Combine in that 40-yard dash, 2020 College Football Playoff National Champion. He joins the show right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
As we're back into the break, or into the action from the break, of a number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We go to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up the man from Rock Nation Sports, the man from Mob Town, Port City, Mobile, here in the south part of Alabama, the man who blazed up the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine running 4.3940. I'm talking about that man who was on the 2020 College Football Playoff National Championship team for Alabama, three-time SEC champion, Jalyn J.A.D. Armour-Davis in here. Jalyn Armour, what's going on, big man?
What's going on, man? I appreciate that introduction.
We got Jalyn Armour-Davis here in the building, played for the Crimson Tide from 2018 to this past season, came to the Crimson Tide out of Mobile, three-time SEC champion, 2020 College Football Playoff National Champion on the show. And first and foremost, J.A.D., big kudos, big congratulations to you on your performance in the NFL Combine. Man, you killed it. 4.3940. I mean, did you, in your mind, did you feel like you hit all the goals you expected to hit during that time at Indianapolis?
I thought it was exceptional. I always expect better and never really satisfied by what I've done. But the numbers that I hit, the things I did, I thought they were pretty solid. But, I'm always striving for something better. But overall, it was a good day.
Jalyn Armour-Davis joining us here on the phone lines. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. So, J.D., let's get into this right here. So, for you, as you prepare for the NFL Draft, as you get set to hear your name called soon next month here, for you, what was the biggest lesson you took from head coach Nick Saban during your time in Tuscaloosa with the program?
Coach Saban really just taught me how to fight through any type of adversity and really how to persevere through all the tough times. Obviously, in my career, I had a lot of ups and downs and things that I had to get through as a young player. But he taught me how to continue going forward and not to really look back and dwell on the past. And he taught me not only how to go forward, but how to become better with the cards that I was dealt. So that's something I was taking with me, obviously going into the next level, and just taking with me in life in general, just to teach me how to get through some tough obstacles. And that's going to teach me how to be a professional at the next level.
Speaking of facing adversity, J.A.D., this past season, not winning the national championship, you got right there. You're facing a really good Georgia team. A shot was there, just did not happen. Alabama fell in that game. But when you go back and you recap the entire last season, what do you take from it? How do you evaluate it? When you look back at 2021, what was your biggest takeaway?
I think as a team, it kind of goes back to the message that Coach Saban, I thought that I took from Coach Saban, was really how to get through adversity. We had adversity from the beginning of the year. obviously, being versus Alabama, people expect us to win. But, I mean, looking at the end of the season, people look at the results of not winning the national championship. But before this season, everybody suggested that it was Alabama's down year. Alabama could lose X amount of games, and they got to replace all these starters. So, is Alabama going to be Alabama? So we kind of came in, being doubted from week one and went through some close games, tough games, lost a tough game, won some tough, close games. But every single game, it seemed that it was still some type of doubt from outside looking in. So the entire season, we were really out to prove not to just the doubters, but to ourselves that we're never in a down year, and it's never really a rebuild year for Alabama. We just reload, and we have the same goal every single year to win to dominate every game and to get to the national championship and hopefully win that. So overall, it was still a great season, a historical season. Obviously, we had another Heisman Trophy winner in Bryce Young. So it was definitely not a season that anybody should view as a negative season because we lost the last game of the year. We still are the SEC champions in that same season. We still won a playoff game in that same season and came up just short in the national championship. So in my eyes, it was still a great season, but we just have to finish the end goal to win the national championship.
If you're just tuning into the show here on a Monday, we got the man Jalyn Armour-Davis, former Alabama cornerback, played from 2018 to this past season, three-time SEC champion 2020, college football playoff national champion here on the phone lines. And so JAD, as we now look at just spring practice kicking off for Alabama, took place on Friday of last week. Some guys that you leave behind as you are preparing and headed off to the NFL draft, but are there some guys on this roster back that not many fans know about but should be understanding or should get fully acquainted with? Who are some guys in spring ball that you're looking forward to see blow up this season?
It's really tough to kind of single out, just one or two players because obviously if you're at the University of Alabama, you're not really a underdog, at all, any type of way. Everybody's there. Everyone that's there was the guy from wherever they're from. So I think they're all pretty well known, and obviously they're all very talented. I think in the back end, everybody's going to have their eyes on the corner position. I think it's going to be a lot of competition there. But I think they all have a chance, every single one of the guys. So I wouldn't necessarily say one guy, but I know that whoever is going to step into the role at corner or any other position, I expect him to do very well because I know you don't get a job on Coach Saban's defense or his offense without being a good player.
When you look at just your preparation, Jaylen, for this draft, who are some defensive backs in the NFL that you've spent time kind of modeling, patterning your game after?
Well, the number one corner that I watch the most would have to be Darius Slay. I think we have, kind of similar body types. I probably was a tad bit taller, a little bit heavier than what he was. But I think athletically and just really the playing style overall, I see very, very similar traits in the way that we play the game, the way that we play bump and run, inside and out. He travels to inside. The guard number one receivers in the slot. He can travel to both sides of the field. And I believe that's something that I'll also be able to do, especially having time playing at the star position under Coach Saban's defense. I'll have the ability to play inside and outside once I get to the next level. Another guy that I like to watch a lot is A.J. Tyrell. I think even though he's only in his second year or just completed his second year in the NFL, he's shown, what type of corner he can be. Obviously, he can be a number one corner. Obviously, a lot of press man that he plays as well. So I think those are the two main corners that I watch the absolute most. That one I see very similar playing styles in, but also a lot of guys that I try, a lot of things I can learn from both of those guys.
He is Jalyn Armour-Davis, the pride of Mobtown Mobile. Join us right here graciously on In My Own Words on a Monday, talking your Crimson Tide football 2020 college football playoff national champion, preparing for that NFL draft. Jalyn, man, as always, we appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to spend with us. You take care of yourself, man. Be good and rep that Rock Nation to the fullest, man.
Always, man. I appreciate you having me on the Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Jalyn Armour-Davis joined us right here on the show. Hopefully, I just want to see, where does he fall to in the draft? I know he's going to be a day 2 pick. He'll go somewhere between that second and third round, more so likely the second round. But looking forward to seeing, who could get him, who could take him, because he really did have a strong combine. And before injury, he was the most consistent corner this past season for Alabama. We're looking forward to seeing what he does here in the NFL. But we take a break here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we return to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations, a dialogue with you, the fans, is right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Marvin Constant, All-SEC linebacker and 1999 SEC champion. You are listening to In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99, and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian or Jermaine.
We're back into the action here, folks, from the break. Number 1 form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate the man Jalyn Armour-Davis, former Alabama cornerback, joining us there in the recent segment. Great interview from him, and wishing the best for him when it comes down to the NFL draft. Also wishing the best for my man Bill from New York in the chat right now. We're praying for you, Bill, and the entire family right there. Wishing the best for my man Bill from New York. But we go to the phone lines right now to grab your calls. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. I'm going to call in 205-448-1358. We grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
How's it going? Great, Steve. This is Tobias calling from Fresno, man. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, my man. Doing outstanding. We just had the brother Armour-Davis on. Looking forward to seeing what he does in the NFL.
And let me tell you, you are the coldest introduction man I have ever heard in my life. Man, I need you at my church, bro. You kill it every time with the introduction.
I mean, Tobias, I'm telling people right now, they can rent me out for weddings, graduations, bar mitzvahs. I'll take events.
Oh, my Lord, man. Every time, I'm sitting here, I'm driving home from work just to go to work again. But, man, I'm so pumped up. Great job, man. Great pick for this interview. I love that we were able to hear from him, man. It was so much in that interview. And one that I want to lift out, I know other callers will probably lift some other things, but when he stated that he felt like all of those guys at corner have a chance, it just kind of speaks to Saban's relentless resolve to put the best players on the field. And I know sometimes we as fans be going crazy because we feel like somebody behind the scenes is better, or maybe somebody in the lineup was better, or, in the background was better. But it just goes to show that He's gonna he's not trying to lose a championship behind keeping his best player on the bench. And I think, like we've always been saying, trust Saban. And I would like to just speak to that interview, the Saban press conference. Steven, man, Saban has me juiced up, man. I believe he's on fire. He looks rejuvenated. He don't look 70. He looks like he's 58 and a half. He's sure not ready to take Medicare yet. This man is on fire. He spoke about the line getting their bodies right. So now we probably know why JC and a few others wasn't slotted in, like Neil was in their first year. So there's clearly something there. And then he spoke about the value of Kendall Randolph, man. And I love that Saban highlighted somebody that would persevere, stick around, provide that adult, mature voice for leadership on the team. And then it's really cool, to just see how the questions about the line, Saban is saying, man, we're looking at moving people around to get and we've heard them say this before, the 5 best linemen on the field. But I did have a question for you before I log off and throw something in the chat, man, because I'm excited about that interview you just had. But I'm just wondering about the schedule. I don't know that I've seen Alabama have a large break in the practice periods like this, but maybe I could just be a little bit off. Do you know why there was a break in the practice periods like this? Is it just nothing? It just fell that way. Anyway, love what you're doing with the show. Keep doing what you're doing, man, and I'll take your comments off the air.
Appreciate Tobias from Fresno calling in there. I think it falls that way due to Saban wants to have the players go home for spring break. So normally it falls that way. Now, I know it's kind of disappointing for U.S. fans. Of course, I myself in the media when you have one spring practice and then a whole week there's nothing, and then you pick it back up the following week, and that's kind of weird having it like that. But I think that's how the ball falls, is normally the first day of spring camp will be a Friday, and then that following week, the guys go home for spring break or they just hang out for spring break, no practice that week, and then the next week they come back and resume spring ball. So I think it just falls that way. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
This is Jamar from Miami. I'm feeling great. How about yourself?
Doing outstanding, Jamar. Happy to be here.
That's good. Quick question. I know it's big news about when he got hired, T-Rob, being that he's from Miami, he was down here with the youth for a year. Just want to know how the players that he's going to be coaching, have you heard anything going on? Is it still saying that they love him, if he's doing good, and how they're reacting to him, and, they're expecting big things, I'm assuming. Well, I know because it's Alabama, big things this year. So I know we have a lot of talent at the DB and the secondary position. So I just wanted to know if you've heard anything since the initial hiring of T-Rob was going on. I know spring just started, but just wanted to get your thoughts.
Players are loving Coach Robinson right now. They are loving Travaris Robinson right now. And they're not just loving him because of how he relates to them, but he is a true teacher, technician of the cornerback position. You're talking about a guy that's got tremendous experience in the SEC at South Carolina, at Florida, at Auburn. He's been at 3 major programs in this conference. He produces big players, big play production in that DB room, played DB himself at Auburn. So when you get a coach that's played your position, that knows your position, that excelled at your position, then went to the NFL and had success playing that position, and now is back coaching that position, you hold that guy in a bigger respect. You see that guy in a much bigger, brighter light. So the players are already loving Coach Travaris Robinson. They're all in on him. They're all in for him. So I'm just going to be happy to see how this DB room stacks up with him coaching it. I mean, you got to think, Eli Ricks, I'm not giving him the starting job at one of the two corner spots, but because Saban did pull him from the transfer portal, he didn't pull him to sit him. I would like to see who wins the opposite job, whether it's Kool-Aid McKinstry, Kyrie Jackson, Terrion Arnold, Traquan Fagans. Like to see what goes on with, do you have Malachi Moore in the dime role? Do you have free safety? Just so many bodies here in this secondary. But T-Rob Robinson, he's doing his thing. Players are gravitating to him quickly. Appreciate that call right there. Gotta have my man Bill from New York with that 501 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love that comes from my man Bill from New York, helping us out on the show. And my man Elijah from Jersey, with that 20-piece walking in here, helping us out. And also Tobias from Fresno with that 100, that bitty Benjamin Franklin, helping us out here on the show. The daily Super Chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate you guys, the passionate fans of Alabama football. But Travaris Robinson's doing a good job. I mean, he's getting shown love. Coach Eric Wolford getting shown love with the offensive line. Coleman Huntsler, the linebackers, the outside linebackers loving him. Joe Cox so far, you've heard Coach Saban loving his mindset. The main thing we as fans want to see from these four on-field hires when it's game time, when it's regular season game time, can these four produce in a big way to where it leads Alabama not just back to the national championship stage, but winning the championship game? That's the main thing. The hire's cool. The hire's good. But with that hire, can you teach? Can you produce? Can you motivate? Can you instruct? Getting this group to a national championship and winning that. But we're going to transition here to a quick topic, and that being the NCAA tournament, March Madness. Alabama men's basketball in here, despite the inconsistency that we saw all year from Nate Oates and this team, finished at 19-14. This is the Alabama team that beat Gonzaga, Houston, Baylor, Arkansas, Tennessee. Really good wins. But it's also the Bama team that had some of the most head-scratching losses you ever want to see. But somehow, some way, according to Joe Gennardi, Joey Brackets here, Alabama, quad 1 wins, quad 2 wins, strong enough to put it in the NCAA tournament. My thing is, how much of a run can this team make? Because this team can get hot and run the table, or it can come out the gates cold and get bounced in the first round. What Alabama will we see in the tournament? Because they got the Tide in the bracket of death, the West bracket, that has Duke, Texas Tech, Michigan State. A lot of good teams in that West bracket. So can Bama win 6 games? We know when it comes down to the tournament, it's survive and advance, right? So can Bama win 6 games and win it all? In my opinion, can Bama at least win 5 games to get to the Final Four? I mean, Elite 8 would be great. But if it can get to the Final Four, that'd be fantastic also. But it's just, what Alabama team will we see start the NCAA tournament, which takes place on Friday for the Tide in San Diego? They will get the winner of the Notre Dame-Rutgers matchup for the play-in game. So keep my fingers crossed here. Not doing a bracket this year, because every time I have done a bracket in my career, I have been sadly hurt. I mean, those 12 seeds taking out those 5 seeds. What gives? But every time I've done a bracket, I've been hurt. So this year, John, I've made a promise to myself. I'm not doing a bracket this year. Just not doing it. Just going to watch it for the enjoyment of the game, because Lord knows, can Steven win the money? As much as I would like to win the money, sometimes just can't win the money. But we're going to go to a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we get into the conversation of Ja'Cory Brooks out for spring ball. Which receiver does this benefit the most in terms of getting that connection, that continuity down with Bryce Young? We'll talk about it after this.
If If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, back in from the break here. Number one form, hottest show in the streets here, talking your Crimson Tide. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Monday. Crimson Tide off this week for spring break, but we'll return to action on next week. NCAA tournament for Bama men's basketball starting up here on Friday. How far can the Crimson Tide under Nate Oates go? We shall see. But before we get into the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. You can check us out right now. Get all of your clothing, culture, swag, drip, all of your fashion needs here. Repping your team, repping Alabama football, and the brand giving you all the information. TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. A link in the description. Continue to show that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we now look at one Ja'Cory Brooks. He was one of three players Coach Saban mentioned on Friday of last week to open spring practice that will not participate in spring ball. He is out due to slight injury that he sustained, whether it was in the latter portion of last season or during the offseason. But Ja'Cory Brooks out for spring practice, and a lot of you fans disappointed and hurt to not be able to see him compete in spring ball, but better for him to be out in spring than him to be out in the fall, right? Because you would much rather have him in the fall during the regular season. So with Ja'Cory Brooks out, this gives other guys an opportunity to seize the moment, capture the moment, develop that chemistry, that flavor, that style, that connection, that continuity, that bond, that trust, if you will, with one Bryce Young. And Alabama has a lot of receivers looking to do this and discussing Jermaine Burton, transfer from Georgia, J.I. Hall, Trayshawn Holden, JoJo Earl, Christian Leary. I mean, they've got guys that look to build this relationship here on the field with Bryce Young, in a sense of when Young throws the football, puts it in these guys' hands, he's going to know this guy is not going to drop the football. When this receiver is running a various route, Young knows he's going to break the route off right here. I'm going to have him the ball right here. He's going to catch the ball right here, and we're going to be cooking like Crisco. Like, developing that relationship with Bryce Young is a big deal. Huge deal here. So you got some guys here that can do this. And starting this off with Jermaine Burton coming over from Georgia. He's got the experience. Played 2 years in the SEC. In 2 seasons, 53 catches, 901 yards, 8 touchdowns. And during Friday's practice, he looked like he was getting comfortable, more and more comfortable catching the ball from Young. Catching the ball, turning, tucking the ball away, getting upfield. And we've seen transfer receivers have success at Alabama, whether it was Richard Mullaney, whether it was Garrett Dieter. Last season, we saw Jamison Williams. All he needed was 1 year from Ohio State, and the brother did wonders for the Crimson Tide out of the portal. So we've seen the success Jermaine Burton looks to continue that. And if Nick Saban didn't feel like he needed to grab somebody with experience from the portal, he doesn't make that move to bring in Burton at the position. Now, the question still remains, does he end up ultimately being a slot receiver? Does he end up at the top of the formation at X, bottom of the formation at Z? Remains to be seen. But during the first day of spring ball, what did Coach Saban say? Called the young man impressive at wide receiver. It's a transfer. And he's already starting to build that continuity there a little bit there with Bryce Young. So behind him, they've got Trayshawn Holden. And for me, is this the moment where the kindred spirit relationship, or I guess the roommate bond between Young and Holden, does it pop off this year? Because both guys played a little bit there in California together. They were roommates at the at the program. So you wonder, playing a little bit of high school ball, playing a little bit of those camps together, both of these two roommates, when will that grow into Holden breaking out and becoming the guy? Or does it come this year? Does it happen this year? Because I feel like this past season, Trayshawn got on the field in moments, had some good plays. Mississippi State, 3 catches for 70 yards, 1 touchdown. I know in the national championship game, Bryce Young was looking for him in the back corner of the end zone, and Holden just could not quite get there to make the catch against Georgia. But is now the moment where we see these two finally fully connect and be on the same page? Does Holden benefit the most from Ja'Cory Brooks being out for spring ball? A lot of people will be keeping their eyes there on 11 Holden. And when you look at a J.I. Hall, this is the one where people are like, please, 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 let this be the moment for him. Because when out there, national championship game, after all of the cryptic tweets and posts he put up there on social media, and yes, he had some drops in that game, but he also caught 2 passes. And he owned up to it on social media, apologizing to the fan base in not coming up huge there in those moments. But my mind, for some reason, still takes me back to the A-Day game in 2021, where it was Kirk Herbstreit, Joey Galloway on the field, and Herbstreit straight fanboying it behind Nick Saban. Coach, 17, coach. What is it about him? I want the 411. I want the skinny. I want the backstory. What is it about 17 Hall? Like, what is it? Like, this guy's something else. He has captivated my entire attention. What is it about this dude? And Coach Saban goes, well, he's the most explosive player we got, or one of the most explosive players we got. So he's physical, he's freakishly athletic, he can make jump ball catches, he's got juice. We just got to find a way to get him more so on the field. And that was a spring game where he caught 4 passes for 72 yards. And it's the ability's there. The package physically is there for J.I. Hall. It's for him getting out of his own head and just putting in the work. That's it. Get out of his own head, maybe leave social media alone a little bit, and just get into work. Because if he can put this all together, he's special. If he can put it all together on the field, he's special. 6'3", nearly 200 pounds, if not over 200 pounds now. If he can just put it all on the field, he can be a real special player here at Alabama. So that's a guy that can really benefit from, once again, Ja'Cory Brooks out for spring ball. And then last 2 guys here, you discussed Christian Leary and JoJo Earl. They can really benefit. Saw some clips of JoJo Earl from the first practice. He looks like he's improved, catching the ball with his hands cleanly, cut and turn it up, getting up and down the field. He sustained an injury, last year against New Mexico State, if I'm not mistaken there. So having him back, and I know he's going to be in that punt return, kick return aspect, but having him back as a receiver. Him getting that chance to win that slot position. And then you've got Christian Leary. I know my man Mattress Matt out of Mobile has been high on Christian Leary, among other people, 10.5, 100-meter dash speed time. And you get this guy on the field and put the ball in his hands, he turns the corner, he gone. Especially if he eats away the angle from a cornerback or a safety. He is gone. You're not going to catch that young man on the field when you talk about wide open space and speed. And I get it. You got a freshman in here and Aaron Anderson, who people are excited about to maybe win that slot position. You have another freshman receiver here and Kendrick Law as an early enrollee that people are kind of looking at, wanting to see what does he do. But Christian Leary, JoJo Earl, both experienced within the system. Both have a year under their belts. Bryce Young, like both of these two, when it comes down to that slot position here, it's which one of these two rises with Bryce Young. Which one of these two takes that jump where he shows Young, hey, put the ball in my hands, I'm ready to make a play. Put the ball in my hands, not going to let you down. Put the ball in my hands, I'm ready to go out here and go get it. Either one of these guys, Burton, Holden, Hall, Earl, Leary, either one of these guys can take advantage of this moment with Ja'Cory Brooks out for spring practice. The question is, who is it? Who has the mentality of, some got to give, it's my moment, and I'm taking it right now. Just like those J.G. Whitworth commercials, it's my money, and I need it now. Which one of these receivers? It's my moment, and I'm taking it now. Brooks is down. Brooks is out for the spring. Hate it for him, but this is my moment to build this with Bryce Young, and I'm taking it right now. So looking forward to seeing who does that from this group of receivers here in spring practice. But as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and material here on your Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. The good and gracious Lord sees fit, I shall return on Wednesday. Continuing the conversation, that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link found in the description. You can also, if you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description also. If you're trying to grab yourself the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description too. But appreciate my man Patrick P. Money Down sitting in as always in that first topic there for Touchdown Alabama magazine. The man Jalyn Armour-Davis coming on here talking some Bama football with us. 2020 College Football Playoff National Champion. Looking forward to his career in the NFL. And as always, my man John Ivory in the production studio doing his thing, and you, the passionate Bama fans, letting your voices be heard tonight on the hottest show in the streets. And until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate value. Those husbands, children, continue doing the fun thing, right thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing. To not be bored. Be sure to pick you up there. Those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. And until Wednesday, you've been listening to In My Own Words.